Survivor Series, WWE 2014. Preview, thoughts, what the hell do I think about this shit going into? Well, you guys are about to find out. So we're not going to talk about everything. We're just going to talk about the basic stuff, the stuff that's, highlighted here, which is really just the 5-on-5, which is the only thing they really pushed. You have this 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, Team Authority versus, Team Cena. It's just giving Cena something to do until he goes up against Lesnar again. Just, once again, shoving him down our throats. I mean, seriously, we all know, that Cena's team is going to win here. There's no way that they're not. And Cena's going to end up being the star at the end of the day again, like he always is. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. This is the way I heard it, okay, from what I've seen. So if I'm wrong, somebody please re-inform me. But from what I understand of this, if the Authority team loses, then you have where they're no longer the Authority, which would end this whole stupid storyline, which I have no problem with. But then you're going to have a stipulation where if Team Cena loses, then the entirety of Team Cena gets fired. But then it becomes, but not Cena, because Cena's worth, so much to the company. And we all know that they're not going to fire everybody unless that whole team is the spring cleanup other than John Cena. And if that's not the case, and that's not what's going on, and we're not even near spring yet, which that's probably not the case, and there's no way in hell that Team Cena is going to lose. I mean, there's nothing to leave me guessing going into this. I already know what the results are going to be. So, just for the fact that it's free, I'm going to watch it. But if I had to go drive to the bar to see this, I won't even bother. And hell, sure as hell wasn't going to pay $9.99 to watch this month. Fuck that. Just the stupid stipulations going into this match that's being booked for this horribly booked pay-per-view. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And then the kicker of all this, the thing that's going to make this so huge, everybody, is that Sting is going to make his appearance at Survivor Series. He's going to make his return to the ring, quote unquote, if it's even going to be that. Now I know there's going to be a shitload of marking ass motherfuckers out there who are going to sit there and say, oh, Sting isn't WWE because he's never been in WWE before. This is just a great moment. Yay! Oh my god, hooray! Joy. I was probably the only guy who was going against the idea of Sting coming to wrestle Undertaker at WrestleMania originally. I was probably the only guy against it, thinking at the fact that Taker had nothing left in the tank. After Michaels, he had nothing left in the tank. And you're going to bring Sting in, a guy who has less in the tank than Taker. Whatever match Sting is in, he's going to have to get carried because he's old, he cannot go anymore, he has nothing left to offer. I don't want anyone to get it twisted, I respect Sting. I do. It's not that I don't like him. It's just that this isn't 1997 anymore. If Sting would have, came to WWE back in 02, 03 or something, then I'd be okay with it. He'd be fresh off of WCW. He wouldn't be that old. He'd be in the prime of his career. And he's far past that now. Now, I don't know how many of you guys that are watching this video right now are avid viewers of TNA, but if you've seen TNA in times past, in the last couple of years when Sting was making his final years there, because he was there for quite a while, but in those last couple of years, you could just see he was garbage. He had nothing left. There was nobody that they could put Sting in the ring with that would compensate and make him not look so old and so pathetic, because he could barely take a bump. He only do fucking 2 moves. I'm not blaming the guy. He's in his 50s. His body's beat up. He's been doing this for almost his whole life. I mean, it's time to hang it up, dude. And I know this whole thing, like I said before, it's going to generate a huge pop and people are going to love it. But what's it going to do for the future of the company, really? Because he's not a guy that they could use for the future. He's just a guy that's there for the present. He's already way past the future. He's the past. So my question is, what can he actually further along? What can he actually do to help get somebody over? What can he be involved in where someone can actually get some heat on him to get themselves over? What can they actually do with this guy? And if you can't do anything with him, which I know they're not going to, because they can't do anything with what they have now, then where's this going to go? I mean, there's nothing they can really do with him. What are they going to do? Make him a general manager? I mean, he really can't go in the ring anymore. I can vouch for that because I've seen him wrestle in recent years. It's pathetic. I'm not fond of having a general manager, but that's all they could really do with him. I mean, what's he going to do to get anybody over? he can't go anymore. He's done. He's washed up. And to say that he can really get somebody over because the audience is really over with this guy, that it'll work to get this other guy over, it's not going to work in today's age, or day and age, I should say. Excuse my tongue there for slipping with Sting. Because Sting is an old dude, and this is a casual audience of fans. We're not talking about the audience that was watching, 10, 15 years ago. None of these people know who Sting are for the majority of the audience. It's going to be a silent audience for him. No one's going to know who he is. The couple of people that are in the building that know who he is, who are going to be there for that nostalgic pop, that moment, will cheer, and that'll probably get the rest of the audience to kind of go along with it, along with a lot of, can cheer from the speakers and shit, but really no one in that building is going to know who the fuck he is. Seriously. I mean, he's been in TNA since, forever, pretty much since WCW went. Has been in TNA for years before he was let go, or he walked out, or whatever happened, okay? None of those people in the audience that watch WWE, those casual viewers, watch TNA. They don't even know what TNA is. So how the fuck are they going to know who Sting is? So even if he could wrestle a match, what the fuck is he going to do for this guy over here when Sting himself, to the casual audience of wrestling, is a nobody, because no one knows who he is? How is that going to help somebody else if he goes up against someone else? It's not. So other than for a nostalgic pop, which will get some of the hardcore fans, it might get the TNA audience to watch WWE. Maybe some of the other indie marks will watch, just to see Sting have that moment in WWE, because he was never there before, and it'll be that big feel-good moment. He'll get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he'll have his match, or whatever's going to happen. But other than that, when that feeling rubs off, what's left? Nothing has changed. So the answer is nothing. And after that audience of people realizes, even though Sting is there, this thing may be happening with him, but he isn't who he used to be, and they already know this because he was in TNA. This feel-good moment is now over. He's had his moment. WWE's still the same shit that it was before he came in, so why the fuck am I watching this? Adios, goodbye. Now, I know this is becoming more of a rant than a preview of Survivor Series, but this is all real shit here. This is all relevant. Because these are the two big things that we're going into this pay-per-view right now. We're talking about the Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match, and we're talking about Sting. Those are the two big things that are going on. There's really nothing else going on at this show. I guess we could talk about the rest of the card real quick. We got Nikki Bella versus AJ Lee for the Divas Championship, and really, one of the Bellas should have won the title already with all the crap that they're doing with those two fucking horrid wrestlers, horrible promo cutters. This whole thing is just stupid. This whole angle has been stupid. Nikki should win this. Even though I don't care, perceivably, because I don't like this story. I've thought it's been stupid since day one when they started this months ago. This whole thing has been dumb. But at least they're doing something, and I'm respecting that at least they're giving a storyline to the Divas division, which I appreciate that. That they've actually gone the way to do something with the women in the company, which they haven't really done something with in a long time. So I'll give them that. Even though I don't like what they're doing, at least they're doing something, which is better than nothing. But if AJ wins here, then it kills the whole point of everything. If you're gonna have the Bellas so far involved with this, then Nikki needs to win the belt here. With as big as they're making this whole Bella storyline out to be, it should be for the title when the two finally face off with each other. So, I think it should be, because that's the biggest thing going on in that division right now. And AJ's just been champion. They just give the belt to AJ because they have no one else to give it to, because no one else has that, that feel inside them, that that it factor, I guess you could say, in that division. But if you're going to build this up and you're going to make this that important, and which at this point, that storyline has dwarfed the title, then you might as well put the title in that picture. It's the only thing logically that makes sense. Alright, so we got another match. The Usos versus Damien Mizdow, and The Miz versus Los Matadores versus the Rhodes Brothers for the Tag Team Championships. At least they're doing something. They're having a title match. It's not like on a pre-show or something. That's cool. There's really not much build to this. But at least we're having a match. I don't see, the Rhodes Brothers losing, because they just won the titles not too long ago. I would actually like to see Mizdow and the Miz win. That's just me. That's my favorite team right now in WWE. I think they're very entertaining. Well, Mizdow is entertaining. The Miz is kind of there. You know, Sandow. I'm gonna call him Sandow because this whole thing is a parody. We all know that. He just copies the Miz and does whatever the Miz does type of thing. And it's funny. But this guy is just so talented. It just shows what he can do. He can take anything, as stupid as it is, and get it over. This guy deserves to be a future champion. I like him a lot. They treat Sandow like they did, Santino Marella. And I actually liked Santino Marella. A lot of the guys that WWE picks to be these comedy guys are very talented. And it's sad that they choose these guys and demeanor them and make them look so stupid. Sandow has, in my opinion, the it factor. He has everything it takes to be a champion. So him doing these stupid things like this whole Mizdow thing, and this whole tag team with the Miz and all this, I think it's entertaining and I like it because it's something for him to do, and I'm glad they're doing something with him and keeping him original to some degree. But this guy deserves way more than this. Okay, the Elimination Divas match. We got Paige, Cameron, Summer Rae, and Layla versus Emma, Alicia Fox, Natalya, and Naomi. There's some talent in there, a little bit. It could be a good match. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but once again, poorly built. Well, at least we're having a Divas Elimination match. It's amazing they're building one Divas feud. Couldn't expect them to do two. That would be asking for too much, but at least we're getting something with them. So, I see Natalya picking up the win for a team. That would be my guess. Alright, Bray versus Ambrose. This match, I'm actually disappointed that they're even doing this feud. I'm glad they're doing something with Wyatt, but you have Ambrose, who never got the one-up on Rollins. He didn't look bad, but he never won, which is bad. That wasn't the way this thing should have ended. You should have ended this the right way. I know they're trying to push Rollins, they have him with the briefcase, and at the same degree, I'll also say this is the first time they're using one of the Money in the Bank winners and building them up. Like, Rollins is a monster right now. Seriously, he is. So, props to WWE. He beat Orton. He beat Ambrose, regardless of how he beat him. He beat Ambrose. Come on. The guy's built to be a monster, but at the sake of Randy Orton was fine, but at the sake of Ambrose and not letting him have a loss to Ambrose and having Ambrose go over, I don't know if necessarily that was the best decision. If you're trying to build that top baby face, and right now he's being built to be the top heel. He, right now is the top heel in the company as far as I'm concerned. In hindsight of all that, look what it did to Ambrose. Now Ambrose is essentially down the card facing Bray Wyatt. And I hate to say down the card to face Bray Wyatt, but what's Bray Wyatt done? Bray Wyatt's been on the losing end of everything. Who'd he beat? Chris Jericho? Joey Jericho comes back to put over guys. But it doesn't really do anything. At the end of the day, he has to keep the ball rolling, and that's something that they have not done with him. Now you've disbanded, the Wyatt family too, WWE, so that just takes even more of his character away. Just there's not much of him left, and after Ambrose more likely goes into this and just defeats him, where do they go from there? What's left for him to do? Is he going to go back after Rollins? What's going to happen here? I still don't think that feud ended the right way. I don't even think this feud between him and Wyatt should be happening. I think that, he should still be feuding with Rollins, or he should have defeated Rollins at that moment. Logically, that he could have defeated Rollins, in a clusterfuck manner, so Rollins didn't look bad. Rollins, almost had him, and maybe the Authority got involved and thought they were doing the right thing or something, and accidentally got Rollins fucked up and whatever, when Rollins loses or some shit. They could have made it to where Rollins looked really, really, really good, because for as many wins as he has under his belt, it wouldn't have been that bad. Now, at the same time, what they did with Orton, and Orton's never going to come back and destroy Rollins, and we know this. He's going to destroy the Authority, which also leads me to believe, that it would be stupid to have your Team Cena defeat Team Authority, even though everyone in Team Cena would get fired, which they would have to find a way to go around that, which knowing WWE, they would just make everybody forget that ever happened and just result in bringing them back. But I think the right way to go would be to have Orton destroy the Authority. If anything, what they should do is have Orton come out, interfere, and cause a DQ. I think that'd be the right thing to do. Yeah, it would continue this storyline, which, like me, just like a lot of you, probably don't want to see this anymore, but, I mean, it's not right to end it here. They can have him come out, and then they can have a match at TLC. They could do like Orton and Cena, because at this point, Orton is face. They could do Orton and Cena versus Rollins, maybe in Kane or something at TLC or something like that. They could do something to that degree. I think that would work. Yeah, it would further the storyline, but it would give us a great match, something to see at TLC. We don't even have a championship match for TLC because our champion's going to be gone until Royal Rumble, for God's sakes. So we need something. There you go. And it'll make for, once again, entertaining story and television and a great match if they build it right. They have all the right guys and personalities in there. Yeah, Orton's a little bit boring, but Cena will cover for him, and Orton, just can deliver in the ring. So this could be really good. Now, I'm not sure if Kane would be the guy that they would throw in there with Rollins, to be his partner or whatever. But Rollins can deliver. And, whoever they put Rollins in there with as his partner, he's going to make them look like gold. He's going to make the other guys look like gold too. So, I mean, this is just going to be really, really, really good if they build this right. It'll further this along. And obviously, it won't end at TLC. That's apparent. This is going to continue on probably through Mania, I would guess. Like, I actually see, having Roman Reigns finally come back and he beats Brock Lesnar for the belt at Mania, and then having Rollins cash in right then and there and defeat the newly crowned champion Roman Reigns, and then have them feud for the belt. I could really see that happen. At the same time, it looks like it's going to be John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and if they do that and Cena wins, which if he does will defeat the purpose of Undertaker ever losing to Lesnar to begin with, which will just piss me off even more than I already am about this whole shit. The only way they could do anything to minimize that, in my mind, and fix that problem would be to have Rollins cash in on Cena right then, have the rematch the next damn pay-per-view, and have Rollins fucking wipe the fucking mat with him. That would make me very happy. Is that going to happen? Probably not. I could dream on. But that's a whole other story. So, but, yeah, that's my basic thoughts of the pay-per-view and some things that they could do. I know I've kind of ranted and went on about a lot of things here, but, basically, this show has mediocre build to it, but, I mean, it's not the worst build that I've ever seen. This has actually been better than the previous 3 or 4 pay-per-views as far as I'm concerned. In terms of build, I thought this has been built better. Yeah, a lot of it's clusterfucky and nonsensical and stupid and just very obvious in the results and stuff like that, but at least they've done something more than what they've been doing. I'll give them that. It does somewhat have me wanting to watch this, to some degree, not enough to where I think I would have drove to the bar to see this. I probably would have not even drove to the bar to see this at all. I probably would have just seen the results of it, and then if it was good enough, I probably would have ordered the network at that point just to check it out. But since the network is free, I'm going to go ahead and do it on the network just to see what the pay-per-view is like, and if I like it, because the build was decent, going into this. It was still mediocre, but it was better than what I was expecting it to be. I might just order the WWE Network for 1 month, especially if they end Survivor Series like I think they're going to, or like I want them to, and that sets up for TLC, then I'll definitely want to see TLC. So, we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, this pay-per-view is mediocre in build, but not terrible. It's more along the lines of mediocre to good than mediocre to bad. Some of it's mediocre, some of it is good. So there's a lot of it that I don't like, but it still has its build points to it, so at least they did something. They did something with the Divas. I can't complain about that. Yeah, it's the Bellas. I hate the Bellas, but at least they're doing something. We have an elimination match with Divas as well, and we also have a storyline for a 5-on-5 elimination match with the dudes. So, I mean, I really can't complain too much other than the fact that there's no championship match. Bullshit. That would be probably the only thing at this point right now, other than, you know, a shitty build going into TLC that would stop me from ordering the network right before TLC to see it for paying for it from WWE, would be exactly that. I'm just sick and tired of not having a champion defend his title for months and months on end. It's getting stupid. You know, I said, you know, before that, you know, if they were going to do this the right way, they could have had Lesnar defend the belt like every couple of months, like every 2 months. You know, you could have a contention, a build up for contenders, and just have the final match of one pay per view be like a number one contenders match. The next pay per view have Lesnar come back, and they could feud for that month. They can have Lesnar on TV for a couple dates, have him go to the pay per view and defend the belt. Then you don't have to have him on TV for a whole month. Give him a whole month off. Have him on TV for a couple days to feud with the next guy that wins the match to determine the number one contender or whatever, and then go forward. Yeah, it's very basic, but there's not much they could do when you don't have your champion on TV for months on end. You know, when he doesn't have that many dates to fulfill. Even though I've heard that they had a contract written where they can get more dates out of him, they just didn't want to pay him. If you don't want to pay him, that would have been the best way to do it. Just yeah, it would have took a real month to establish a championship title match every time, and then you would only have a month to build that story, which is all we normally have anyway. But they could do something with that, you know, and then you only know what kind of feuds you could possibly break off from all the contention matches from guys that are going to be fighting with each other to be in that number one contenders match. To determine who the number one contender is going to be to face Brock Lesnar. That can possibly break off each for guys that don't even make it to that spot. You know, they could have did so much. You know, it just pisses me off that Lesnar's not on TV now for what? Months and months and months. We're going to the third or fourth pay-per-view now, and he has not defended that belt. I mean, seriously? Is that how worthless the title has become? You know, before this turns into a rant, once again, even further of me ranting on the titles, you know, which I've already done in the past, you know, and I'm not going to go back into this now. I'm going to stop the video here. You know, the build-up was mediocre to good, or okay at best. You know, it does have me wanting to watch somewhat, you know, so I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch it on the WWE Network. I'm not going to be able to watch it the night of because I'm working, you know, but I will be able to watch the playback of it, obviously, so that's okay. At least I hope I can. It's the idea. You know, and if the results turn out the right way and we get what I think we should be getting going into TLC, which I think would be proper and correct, you know, then or something of that nature, I would possibly order the network just for that 1 month just to watch it. Just to check it out, you know, as long as that was good and it was built properly, there's no championship match. I mean, that's definitely a big reason why I don't have the network. It's one of the big reasons. You know, and if everything else is kind of built up good, you know, we have at least enough things going in to keep me interested, then you never know. I'm actually on the network, WWE. Just saying. You know. And that's about it. Leave your thoughts in your comments down below. What do you guys think the pay-per-view is going to be like? Leave it down there. Peace.